Welcome back. As we discussed in a previous video, for most large industrial facilities, the electrical distribution network can be extensive and complicated. A single line diagram is usually the most simplified drawing that can give us an overall view of how the power network is connected and operated. Also, for the purpose of network modeling, constructing the one-line diagram is the first step needed to start performing any analysis. So imagine yourself as the engineer working on a project to examine the robustness of the power system or to examine the possibilities for future expansion or modification. Then one of the first tasks you may perform is to obtain a copy of the facility's one-line diagram and start transferring the data from the one-line diagram into your ETAP model. And what type of data we're looking for here? Well, we're looking for all electrical elements depicted on the one-line diagram, their relation to one another, and their nameplate rating. Although the one-line diagram may show the normal operating conditions only, I may need to understand what other configurations the system can be interconnected if other conditions exist, such as emergency. So without any further ado, let's start building a one-line diagram. To start a new project in ETAP version 19, you will go to File, New Project, and we will give it a name. Let's call it Power Source Plant. And this box here tells us the data will be stored in the local SQL database. The database can also be stored on a server. And the access level, the project master and editor. To construct your one-line diagram, first you need to notice that you would have to be in the one-line diagram system module. From here, you would have to be in edit mode. And as you can see, the pad here, this area called the one-line view, and in the one-line view is the place where we are going to graphically start constructing our one-line diagram. Also, the elements used to construct the one-line diagram are located here, and in here you can see that this first one here is the AC element list, this one here is the DC element list, and this one here is the instrumentation element list. Now we know where the elements are. Let's take a peek at the one-line diagram associated with that facility that we are trying to work with. Our objective is to transfer the data from the one-line diagram associated with the power source facility into our ETAP model. And since our objective is to transfer the information from the one-line diagram onto the one-line view, and I'm only using one screen, I would like to bring the one-line diagram right here on the one-line view so you and I can both see it at the same time. And to do so, I'm just gonna go to Edit, Insert a new object, and in here, let's go to, let's say, a Word document. And I will take a screenshot of the one-line diagram, drop it in the Word document, and it should show up here. And here it is. Now we're ready to construct the one-line diagram. We can do that in two ways, one of which is the manual way. The second way is utilizing the auto build. We will start with the manual way. We do so by looking at element list, and then you hover over it. It's going to give you the name of these components if you're not sure what that component is, as you can see here. So we are interested in a power grid. I drop that, then you drop a bus. Let's extend that bus, add a transformer, add another bus, connect the side of the transformer, extend this bus, add two loads. The first one is a lumped load right here, lumped load, and then you can connect that by just hovering over the bus and drop. The second one is a static load. This is a static load. Grab, hover, click, drop, and then let's create this portion, the right side. We can do that by extending that line here. And then we can add a power transformer, a bus, connect the sides of the power transformer, add two loads, and these are my induction motors. And instead of clicking here to add the second load, let's say I want to copy this component. We can do that in numerous ways, one of which I want to show you right now is to press the Control Shift together, click on the component, and you would see the drag drop methods. So just drag and drop, then connect that. Finally, we need to just work with this cross tie and add all the breakers. I notice a discrepancy here, and if you want to maintain conventions with the one line diagram, I can see that this bus called bus 1, this bus called bus 3, and this bus called bus 2, and IDs here are different. So to change IDs, you would need to go to the equipment editor, just click on the element of interest, double click on it, it brings the equipment editor, and I want to do this, and I know it's going to return an error, but I want to show you. Then I click that. Now it tells me that the component ID is still here, so that's not going to work, right? So if I want to swap these, just let's say call this X for now, change this to 2, and then bring 3 here. And the purpose of showing you this, that to let you know that you cannot repeat component IDs. IDs are unique in ETAP. Okay, now we adjusted this discrepancy. Now my buses matches bus 1, bus 2, and bus 3 as shown on the one line diagram. Let's add the breakers. And to add the breakers, I will start in the same sequence as the one line diagram. And it looks like I have circuit breaker 1 here, I have circuit breaker 2 here, circuit breaker 3, 4. I double clicked on the element at this point because I know I'm gonna place numerous copies of it. So instead of coming back and forth to click here, I double clicked on the element. That would just hold it for me, and then I can just use that. So that would be 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and I'll place this one here, the breaker here, and return my mouse to just a cursor. I press the escape, double click on the equipment, and it tells me this is the equipment editor for the circuit breaker. And in here I can do 2 things I want to show you. So I want this here to be rotated, and I want to connect that from bus 2 to bus 3. So let's just connect that this time from the editor, and we're gonna connect to bus 2 and connect this here to bus 3 and press OK. Now it's connected. Now it's still not rotated. I can rotate it clockwise by right click. You bring this menu here, and then when you right click on it, you can just rotate 90 degrees. And that's how you really built the one line diagram using the manual way. Next, I will show you how to build this using the auto build. So auto build can save you time and make your one line diagram more appealing and easier to read. And that is because auto build utilizes a rule base that maintains spacing between elements, and it can assign the appropriate voltage levels to your buses based on your project needs. So to use that feature, first we have to get it activated, then set the rules, and then construct your one line diagram. And to activate the auto build feature, first you need to come to the auto build toolbar, and then you enable that function. And if it is enabled, then the rule book will be highlighted. And what are these rules that need to be followed in order to build my one line diagram? Well, one of these rules are spacing between elements. For example, if I'm looking at a bus and a source, it's telling me the distance between these 2 elements from the end of the source to the bus would be 9 units. And what is the units of length on my one line diagram? Well, these are here in the theme editor. If you go to the 3-phase and look at the grid units, I'm using 9, for example, in my case. So my grid has a 9 by 9 squares, and the length of that square here would be 9 units. So if I'm using the rule book to model a bus and a source, and I look at the distance between them, it would be 1 square, which is equivalent to 9 units of length. Okay? Next, I'll show you, let's go to the next tab, which is the voltage. And in the voltage here, we can select the applicable voltage level that can go with our project. For example, our project does have 2 levels of voltages that's needed to be modeled. That is 13.8 and 4.16. Just choose these 2 levels such that ETAP will know that if you are using 13.8 at the primary side, the secondary side would be the next available checked voltage level, and in our case that is 4.16. So that would be automatically propagated through here. Okay, now let's start building a one-line diagram. Okay, so we're here, and then the first thing we do, we are going to drop a utility, and from here you can see that the elements are now changing such that only the most logical component needs to come after. A grid, for example, will be highlighted, other components will be grayed out. So we can add next a bus, and then a breaker, a 2-winding transformer, another breaker, a bus, we'll add another breaker, and as you can see, we are moving now from top to bottom. And I want you to note the selection of the bus was reactivated, and now the ETAP knows that I'm done at this point, and it takes me straight to the bus 2 to add other components to the right of it. And that would be my other breaker, and then a static load. Okay, so now we're done with the left side. Let's do the right side, and that would be by extending this a little bit, and let's add a breaker. Let's just move that a little bit here, and then we'll add a 2-winding transformer, another breaker, and then a bus. And let me add the cross tie here, and then click on the bus so I can move to the right, and add 2 induction motors. And from here I am going to highlight the 2 induction motors, and the auto build would allow you to just select a group of components and add your breakers on top. Now I have the cross tie, I'm just gonna put it here. And that's really how you build your one-line diagram using the auto build. As you can see, we have learned a lot throughout this module. In the next module, we will discuss how to enter equipment database in ETAP. With that, I want to thank you for watching PowerSource for powering up your career and skills. Thank you and good luck.